Hello and Mingalaba. Welcome to MI Radio's Myanmar Today. I'm Henry Zin. Pyithu Hluttaw held a discussion on abandoned children and orphans. High schools reopened amid COVID-19 outbreak. Yangon Payment System comes into effect from July 21st. And a story coverage on torrential rain that's likely to cause floods. Stay with me on Myanmar Today for the reports, but let's take a look at the local news now. Vice President U Henry Venthio, in his capacity as the chairman of the National Disaster Management Committee, inspected the control of Ayeyarwady River floodwaters caused by damages to the embankment near Shwe Khe wastewater treatment facility in Amarapura Township, Mandalay Region, Tuesday. Deputy Minister for Construction Dr. Jo Lin reported on temporary road embankment repair works by driving sheet piles to fill with big rocks and sandbags. He also reported the plans to build a new embankment after the rainy season. The Ayeyarwady floodwaters seeped in on Sunday and damaged the embankment near the Shwe Khe wastewater treatment facility and the Strand Road. It's reported that renovation works are being carried out immediately to allow the resumption of normal flow of traffic. Union Minister Dr. Win Myat-ae, in his capacity as the Secretary of the National Volunteer Steering Unit, held a video conference Tuesday with volunteers and members of civil society organizations assisting in COVID-19 measures across the nation. The Union Minister said while COVID-19 is no longer spreading as noticeably as before domestically, people returning from abroad may be carrying the disease and therefore putting them in quarantine is important. The meeting then began with discussions on the language barrier preventing effective dissemination of COVID-19 information among various ethnic regions, the difficulty of transporting water, food and lab samples of people in quarantine across Chin State due to inadequate infrastructure, the need for vehicle fuel, the need for cash assistance to purchase food for people in quarantine the longer COVID-19 stretches on, proper management of illegal routes of entry, especially routes by water, requesting supplies of face masks, hand sanitizers, gloves and PPE outfits when schools reopen, equipping schools with food-operated waste bins, organizing additional courses for disaster management and volunteers, and support from the union government to the long-term assistance by volunteers and philanthropic organizations in COVID-19 measures. The Asia Starmart Transport Intelligence has launched the prepaid card service for its 597 buses in Yangon. The company broadcast live Yangon payment services online from 9 to 9:20 a.m. The YPS cards are available at the 102 outlets of G&G convenience stores in Yangon, and the company is providing customer service at 3 centers in downtown Sule, The Mine, and Damway. In addition, the Yangon City Development Committee has opened sales and top-up counters for prepaid cards at the bus stops in front of City Hall, Myanmar Plaza, 8 Mile, and Parami Nyaungbin. The Ministry of Health and Sports reported more than 2,800 dengue hemorrhagic fever (DHF) cases across the country from January to 27th of June, with over 1,100 cases arising in 20 days. Myanmar reported over 1,700 dengue fever infection cases with 12 deaths from January to the 6th of June. However, a total of 2,862 cases have reportedly increased with 20 deaths in 26 weeks. At present, the DHF is reported mostly in Sagaing Region, Mandalay Region, Yangon Region, Magway Region, and Mon State. Half of the death rate of dengue cases are reported mostly in Yangon Region. The high population in the town can be attributed to the transmission of both dengue fever and coronavirus, according to the Ministry of Health and Sports. The Health Department is conducting effectively preventive and control measures against DHF under the program of covering, emptying, and cleaning of water storage containers and spraying of mosquito repellents. The department is also planning to provide awareness training courses for the local people to understand how to prevent the disease from breaking out. That's all with the local news, and we'll dive right into our first report now. On the fourth day of Second Pyithu Hluttaw's 15th regular session, a Hluttaw representative raised a question on the protection for abandoned children and orphans, and Deputy Minister for Social Welfare, Relief and Resettlement responded to the question. Thodas Wizin will tell us more.
According to the data released by the Ministry of Social Welfare, Relief and Resettlement in 2018, there are more than 36,000 orphans at about 280 orphanages across the country. This number is increasing year after year as child abandonment is on the rise due to the unexpected pregnancies, resulted from the lack of knowledge about reproductive health. Besides the government's protection towards the abandoned children and orphans, the social organizations are working forward to taking care of the abandoned children. However, there are some problems that not all the voluntary orphanages are working for actual goodwill of the children. Concerning this issue, Hluttaw Representative U Khin Cho from Lancang constituency raised a question on the fourth day of second Pyithu Hluttaw 17 regular session.
It is difficult for the abandoned children and orphans to have a guarantee for a living in addition to the rights of theirs. It is not possible for the government to take care of all orphans in the whole country. So besides orphanages and training schools opened by the government, the humanitarian associations or religious organizations are taking care of orphans by setting up orphanages. While doing so, some are doing with genuine humanitarian spirit, but some are taking advantages of the children for self-profit. This causes the losses for health, sexual safety, and rights of the children. The orphan children are experiencing with high possibilities of losing the full rights for birth registration, access to healthcare, employment opportunities. I want to raise the question that what would be the plan to accredit the orphanages in accordance with the laws and to record their child care in the centers. Moreover, the question is raised whether there are plans for the abandoned children and orphans to provide national ID to the children, to make sure access to healthcare, nutrition, education, and to create employment opportunities.
Concerning the question, Uso Ang, Deputy Minister for Social Welfare, Relief and Resettlement, responded that
The
In Section 101A of Child's Rights Law 2019, it is mentioned that opening the child care centers or orphanage without permission is to be taken action. Moreover, the Department of Social Welfare released the announcement of official application form for the opening of charity houses and shelters. During 6 months, both the registered and non-registered charity houses have to apply for the official approval. Now, 245 charity houses from Naypyidaw and states and regions had submitted application. This can take longer because of current issue of COVID-19 outbreak.
The government has issued the National Social Protection Strategic Plan in 2014, and it includes child allowance and school feeding. The national ID for the abandoned children and orphans is provided in accordance with the specific regulations. From January of 2019 to mid of 2020, total 4,492 national IDs were provided. For the charity shelters, Naypyidaw Council and region and state social welfare departments are supervising and providing assistance to the compliant institutions. The Department of Social Welfare opens 7 child care centers for abandoned children and orphans. For the abuse of abandoned children and orphans, it can be contacted to the ministry. Myanmar has amended the Child's Rights Law in 2017 with 30 chapters and 117 sections. News reported by Dora Susin from Myanmar International Radio.
That's a report on the discussion made at Pyithu Hluttaw on abandoned children and orphans. We'll move on to the next report. Nearly 4,000 high schools reopened in Myanmar amid COVID-19. It's about 2 months later than the normal opening of an academic year. The schools have to prepare enough to meet the necessary measures against COVID-19. Based on the success of high school reopening, middle schools and primary schools will follow suit accordingly. Here's the report.
Importance of end-use farm.
High schools in Myanmar started the academic year of 2020-2021 on 21st of July, which is nearly 2 months later than the usual school year. Because of the outbreak of COVID-19, the reopening of schools had to be postponed, and it is to reopen the schools step by step, starting from the high schools. Measures for COVID-19 prevention have been taken in schools under the guidelines of the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health and Sports. The teachers, students, parents, and school buses have to follow the respective regulations to prevent any possible infection among students. 3,772 schools in the whole country, which can meet the necessary measures, are allowed to reopen. Jo Winway is the principal of Practicing School TTC Kamayo, and she talked about the preparation in her school.
Grade 11.
Today, 555 students from grade 11 of former curriculum attend the first day of school. We have been well preparation since May, in collaboration with teachers, parents, and school associations. For the prevention of COVID-19, we make sure that the students and the teacher wear masks, wash hands, and stay 6 feet apart from each other. At our school, the total number of students is over 6,000, so that even the schools are open for the high school students, and we have also carried out preparedness measures for all classes, including KG. Parents contribute a lot towards the preparedness in our school.
The classrooms have to reduce the number of students, and so more teachers are required. The schools have different solutions for accommodating fewer students in a classroom. Some renew the curriculum and some adjust the school hours. The schools are to make sure that the students feel safe while attending the school and are equipped with necessary lessons for an academic year.
We can see that the school provides us with the necessary measures against COVID-19. Once we enter the school compound, the temperature is automatically checked, and detailed preparedness is done. The separate trash bins are placed for the tissues using for coughing. For us, we have to wear masks all the time during school hours, so it can be quite uncomfortable for us. Despite that, everything is fine. The chairs are put 6 feet away from one another. Even during a break, the students cannot stay closely to each other. Our school is from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. In a day, there are 5 30-minute periods, between which we have 15-minute break. I want to urge my fellows to obey the teacher's words and make sure to practice social distancing.
Starting from high schools, then the middle schools and primary schools will be reopened after a specific time slot. The middle schools are also preparing for the official announcement for school reopening. Dr. Dalwin, principal from No. 2 Basic Education Middle School from Kamayo Township, explained how they are working at present and the challenges for the school lessons.
The middle school is not reopened yet, so we came here to observe how the high school are working for school period amid COVID-19. It can be witnessed that the school prepare enough in accordance with the health guidelines. Even though the middle school are stay closed, we are taking necessary measures for the opening. As the challenge for the school attending amid COVID-19, group works have to be done under the new curriculum. We have to handle how to perform group works while practicing social distancing.
In Myanmar, the local transmission of COVID-19 is almost under control. People are worried about finding any possible case among the schools. So the Ministry of Education releases the guidelines for teachers, students, and parents in order to prevent the virus infection, as well as request the public to participate in prevention for second wave of local transmission.
People are worried because the schools are reopened. To reduce the risk of infection, under the guidelines of the Ministry of Education, the schools prepare a lot, and the participation of the teachers and parents are of utmost importance. We have taken account of any possibility of the students showing similar symptoms to the disease. The responsible teachers are to ensure to know the contents of the healthcare associations.
State Councilor Aung San Suu Kyi said that high standard of health and education is the basic needs for the citizens. She said that the government is putting education in the same level as health for the children not to drift away from learning. Based on the success of reopening of the high schools, the middle schools and primary schools are to be reopened.
That's a report on high schools reopening amid the COVID-19 outbreak. More reports coming up later. Stay with us. Months-long preparation for Yangon Payment Services for YPS bus fares came into effect from Tuesday, 5 days after the YPS cards went on sale to the public. For now, only 12 bus lines accept this card payment system, but according to the report by the responsible persons from YPS, it will continue to extend YPS to other bus lines as well in the coming months. Williamson has more.
In the process of upgrading the transport system in Yangon Region Transport Authority, with the collaboration of Asia Summer Transport Intelligence, it introduced Yangon Payment Service to YPS passengers. This YPS will enable the commuters taking the bus without the need of bringing 200 notes or specific required amount of bus fare. This YPS card started to go on sale from 16th of July, and from 21st of July, 12 bus lines started to launch its payment system to the passengers. The 12 bus lines are YPS 12, 14, 25, 30, 38, 43, 62, 72, 87, 88, 89, and 96. Under the guidance of Yangon City Development Committee, on 28th of July, 4 more shops where YPS cards are available for purchase were open, apart from 102 GNG shops across Yangon where YPS card can be purchased and also top up the card. Although not many started to use this YPS from the first day it was launched, according to the report by YPS from the first day, these YPS started to go on sale from 16th of July, and a total of 9,129 cards have been sold till the launching date of YPS, most of which were sold through promotional sale, where by paying 5,000 kyats, a card worth 5,000 top-up is available for sale. However, it is also reported that on the first day of YPS launching, there were some errors while using this YPS. And speaking on this issue at the launching event of YPS, Ma Yikin, Chief Marketing Officer of YPS, said,
When there is an error when using YPS, there are certain ways how it can happen, but there is no technical error. Sometimes the error can happen if the cat is not tossed at the right direction where it should be, so the wrong direction or the misplacing the cat can also cause an error. And sometimes the error can also be caused by swiping too fast at the bus validators, so a passenger must make sure that he must not swipe too fast, but give sometime around 2 to 3 seconds. We have been watching the whole process from this morning, but we don't find any big issue. Everything is running normally.
The report by YPS also stated that by the end of this month, there will be extension of YPS to other bus lines as well in the coming months. Umang Singh is the terminal officer in charge for YPS 30 at the Kimya Park, and he also spoke to MI Radio about the situation of YPS on the first day, and he said,
What we have learned today on the first day of YPS, the maximum number of passengers who used YPS in a route is 4 and the minimum number is 2. But we have some issues on it. Out of 14 bus drivers, 2 of them report error on this YPS from the passenger. This is the first time we are running this card system, and we cannot expect it to be perfect on the first day. There will be error and mistakes for sure, and it will be solved slowly. However, the things that made me worry are we have so many commuters in Yangon. Sometimes around 10 passengers get into the bus at one bus stop, so it may become an issue with this YPS. But apart from this, introducing YPS is a huge step from the government in upgrading the transport system.
We a Finnish driver who has been driving bus for years also spoke to MI Radio and said,
The introduction of this YPS card is a bit of concern for YPS driver like us because when a passenger makes a payment with this YPS, it takes around 3 seconds. So the driver have to wait till all the payments are done, and it goes the same for both getting on the bus and getting off the bus because the payment has to be done twice at both of cat validator. This morning I had 4 passengers who used YPS, but if this YPS is successful, it is also better for all this shareholder as they can get all bus fare exactly. The problem with cash payment is sometimes the passenger would put into the damage or turnout, which is a loss for the companies.
This is Williamson for MI Radio.
We have one last report on torrential rain that's likely to cause floods. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Towns existing along Ayeyarwady River have already seen the river water that is near enough to reach the danger level. The river water of Chindwin River has exceeded the danger level in Phang Bien town. Besides, the river water in Tan Luin River has risen to 17 centimeters in Pa'an within 24 hours. The Department of Meteorology and Hydrology reported on Monday, adding that at present, the monsoon wind is weak, resulting in rain cloud in Mon and Kayin states and Ayeyarwady Delta region where the rain is pouring down.
The towns existing along Ayeyarwady River has seen the river water that is near enough to reach the danger level. The river water of Chindwin River has exceeded the danger level in Phang Bien town, but the river water in Tan Luin River has risen to 17 centimeters in Pa'an within 24 hours. The Department of Meteorology and Hydrology reported on the 20th of July. At the present time, the monsoon wind is weak, resulting in rain cloud in Mon and Kayin states and Ayeyarwady Delta region, where the rain is pouring down. However, in the upper Myanmar, the cloud moving from China brings about scattered heavy rain. The torrential rain is likely to cause floods, said Dr. Jo Mo-u, Director General of Department of Meteorology and Hydrology.
More irregular rain is now taking place. Starting from 2014, floods and landslides have occurred, and the rain falls heavily in a short time. The amount of rainfall within 3 or 4 or 5 days exceeds that of the whole month. For this reason, there are floods almost every year. We will have to pay attention to the possibility of floods with heavy rain in a short moment at the end of July and during August, because there is less rain at the moment and the rainfall in the mid-period of the rainy season is forecasted.
The respective regions and states are in preparation for possible difficulties that can result from the floods. Preparedness measures are being taken in Kayin State, where it was hit by flood 2 times consecutively. Ubobo Wimang, Social Affairs Minister for Kayin State Government, said.
It is regular that Kayin State experiences floods. For this reason, Kayin State is always prepared for how to respond to flood. Every year we have to do like so. Also this year we have well prepared for that. The first priority we have to prepare is to pick up flood supplies such as blankets, mosquito net, and pillows, including medicines. We have to carry out this task with the use of the budget of the people. The next point is that we have to work with Natural Disaster Management Committee formed with INGOs and NGOs. This committee holds meetings on a regular basis and prepares for necessary measures. Now the drains both sides of Pa'an Road are being dug for ensuring proper drainage system. Other towns in the states and regions are also the same matter. According to the situation happened over the previous year, we are now taking necessary measures to change and retain water. We need to work harder than now.
The social organizations are ready to give a hand in the time of flood occurrence, the Secretary of MAGA Social Organization, Pyithu said.
We will have to cooperate with the government in case of something. What should we do? What duties are we assigned? Now, we have only a vehicle and so we can carry those flood victims to a safer place for the first step. We have to work as instructed by the government. We contribute as much as possible. We are asked for help from others.
Myanmar experienced 10 floods in 10 regions and states during 2015 and 12 floods in 12 regions and states in 2016, leaving 9 deaths and 125,160 households were affected by the flood. In 2017, Myanmar encountered a severe flood again. Kayin State was in flood for more than 2 months due to the floodwater of Danlui River in 2018. Also in 2019, the floods occurred in some regions. In the same year of 2019, the death toll from a landslide occurred in Meladao, the Pugong village in Bang Township, Moon State, rose to 73.
And that's all we have for today's reports, and here's the international news on Myanmar Today. Nepal said Tuesday it will resume international commercial flights in mid-August in a boost for its coronavirus-hit tourism sector. The Himalayan nation shut its airports in late March to control the spread of the virus, which has so far reported 17,844 positive cases with 40 deaths caused by the virus in the country. The shutdown hit just before the peak of the tourism season, when hundreds of mountaineers and trekkers visit Nepal, costing the industry, a key part of the country's economy, millions of dollars. Nepal's Tourism and Civil Aviation Minister Yogesh Bhattarai said the decision to restart commercial domestic and international flights from August 17th was taken in a cabinet meeting Monday. Chinese President Xi Jinping on Tuesday called for efforts to stimulate market vitality to overcome the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the Chinese and global economy. The COVID-19 pandemic has dealt a heavy economic blow to China and the rest of the world, with a slew of market players in the country facing unprecedented pressure. Xi said market entities now act as the carriers of economic power, hence ensuring the vitality of market players is equivalent to stimulating social productivity.
I want to use this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to various enterprises, whether state-owned, private or foreign, including those from Macau, Hong Kong and Taiwan. I would like to thank them for their contributions during the coronavirus pandemic and their efforts to prevention and control.
President Xi pointed out the need to promote entrepreneurship. He said China will implement more targeted policies to benefit and support businesses as it aims to create a favorable legal and international environment for commerce. Xi called on government officials to conduct more exchanges with entrepreneurs in order to develop better policies. President Xi also said China must make good use of the strength of the country's market, push forward technological innovation, and continue to reform and open up in the face of rising protectionism and a volatile global economy.
According to the state news agency SANA, the results of the Syrian parliamentary elections were released on Tuesday, showing a 33.17% participation rate in the voting process. In a widely expected victory in a vote labeled a farce by the exiled opposition, President Bashar al-Assad's party and allied candidates on the National Unity List took 177 seats out of 250 in Sunday's polls. The voting took place on Sunday and the vote counting was delayed on Monday due to reruns in some polling stations in northern and eastern Syria as a result of some issues in the voting process. Hydropower is a crucial source of renewable energy and has been regarded as an effective way to cope with global climate change. But constructing and operating river dams can impact biodiversity. The LANCANG-MEKONG River Basin is home to a variety of species, including many endangered plants and animals. This third part of our series takes you to the Cascade dams along the Lancang River. Take a look at the video.
In this school laboratory, students are analyzing sediment pollutants. The results will determine the level of water pollution caused by humans. It's part of a training program for senior professionals at LANCANG-MEKONG Water Resources Corporation.
What I'm really interested in environment is wastewater treatment, because nowadays my country is a developing country, so more and more industry has been building every day. So it's really important to have a wastewater treatment in those industries.
If they need to have a developing on not only for water resources development, we're ready to support them with our high technology and advantage for develop the resources for the agriculture cluster, industrial cluster, household cluster. We're ready.
Hohai University in eastern China's Nanjing city started this joint program in 2017. It now involves more than 80 students from the Mekong region, complete with the Chinese government scholarships.
China has created many opportunities and platforms for the training of water conservancy personnel and the exchanges of experts. China will continue to promote mutual benefit and mutual trust with Mekong countries by enhancing consultations, exchange of experience, and projects cooperation.
This is the Lancang River that originates from the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau. When it flows out of China, it becomes the Mekong and goes through 5 Southeast Asian countries. In March 2016, the nations launched the Lancang-MEKONG cooperation mechanism to tackle common challenges, and efforts to promote water resources management have topped the agenda.
In flood seasons, China shares hydrological data with the 5 downstream countries. In 2016 and 2020, when Lancang-MEKONG Basin suffered a severe drought, China overcame its own difficulties and increased the discharge in emergency to alleviate the difficulties of downstream countries.
In February this year, Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi announced China would consider sharing the full-year hydrological information with the Mekong countries.
The dialogue is strong, it's in place. Maybe 10, 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been so easy. But today, even with 6 countries on the Lancang-MEKOng, there seems to be a very good collaboration. The pathway seems to be open for good agreements. And if those agreements are established to the mutual benefit of all the parties, I can't see there being a very tense situation as long as there's a good understanding.
Thanks to a 5-year action plan, Lancang-MEKOng countries will work together to build a stronger water partnership and protect resources and the environment in the region. Meng Qingsheng, CGTN.
The COVID-19 pandemic is thrusting populations around the world deeper into a hunger crisis as lockdowns hamper food access, especially in countries already struggling to feed themselves. A new report from the United Nations says that at the current rate, as many as 132 million more people may be left hungry by the end of the year.
For 50-year-old Carlos Macias, it has been a struggle to put food on the table. He lives in Caracas, Venezuela, a country gripped by economic crisis.
We limit the things we buy, especially in personal care products, because you have to choose if you need to buy toothpaste or rice. If I don't have enough to eat, what should I buy, toothpaste or rice?
Sometimes forced to eat only 1 meal a day, COVID-19 has made the situation much worse for his family.
I was working as a carpenter, but now I'm not working because people aren't hiring. Some people are scared somebody will infect them with the virus, and others don't have money to pay.
The virus means that millions more people around the world now have to choose between food and other basic needs for themselves and their children.
If we look at the COVID-19 effects, our estimations are that we will be between 83 and 132 million people going into undernourishment in addition to what we have today.
That's in addition to the estimated 690 million people who went hungry last year as a result of poverty, protracted conflicts, and extreme weather patterns.
And that's all we have for now. Thanks for joining me on Myanmar Today. I'm Henry Zin. Stay safe and stay protected, everyone. I'll see you again.